Welcome back, everyone, to yet another Alpha X replay cast right here on YouTube. My name is Rushi. Thanks so much for tuning in and supporting Alpha X. So glad that you would tune in to this replay cast from Group B by IEM Katowice. You can already see it's getting a little weird. Spawning in the top right of 2,000 atmospheres, it's our blue Zerg player playing for Dragon Phoenix Gaming. This is Dark. And spawning it in the bottom left is opponent, the red Zerg player from ENCE Esports. This is Serral. So, IEM Katowice. What a set of series that we got. Amazing to see the return of premier offline events. We're so excited that these players got a chance to play together in a centralized location, and we couldn't have gotten better games and better series out of all of these players. And this particular series, best of 3 between these two, starts off a little spicy here as Dark 12 pools, the 2018 BlizzCon champion. Got a lot of nerve here, Dark. I mean, this is like all sorts of shenanigans. He's got 2 workers left back at home. It is all drones, all lings, all the time. And what is Serral going to see? He's going to see it all. So he does have a second base on the way. How is Serral going to defend? He pulls drones out here. This is actually really brilliant. He's going to drop drones right into the position where Dark is going to want to build these spine crawlers. And 2 of them have been delayed. So that is a huge amount of time. Every second makes a huge difference here. Serral going to drone drill into the corner here, trying to protect his workers as long as humanly possible. But now Dark has to play on a bit more of an aggressive timer here. So many of his spine crawlers have not been allowed to get started, so that means lings are gonna be able to get up in here, and now the fight has begun. Everything is all coming to fruition here at the 2-minute and 30-second mark. Serral able to capitalize here. He's 26-12. Dark just does not have the same amount of firepower here. It all comes down to whether or not these spine crawlers will be able to complete, but look at all the unit count. 7 supply remains here. 2 of these spine crawlers are allowed to finish, but there's a second base for Serral. He's never going to be able to corner Serral. Dark is just kind of out in a really poor position here. These drones are going to be able to get on top of the spine crawler. That's just way too much damage. And Dark unable to cheese the 2018 global champion as Serral goes up 1-0 in this best of 3. After a high octane game number 1, game number 2 takes us to Hardwire here. Dark unable to capitalize on a 12 pool against Serral. Now has to kind of go back to the well and maybe rethink his position in game number 2. Both players going to open up macro-oriented once again. Both players taking a 16 hatch. Pretty standard. As Dark not able to bully down his opponent Serral. But I think we've seen this from Serral time and time again, where Serral can just respond appropriately to a multitude of different types of cheeses. And in ZVZ, maybe one of Serral's weakest matchups. I mean, we've seen Serral and Raynor go toe-to-toe time and time and time again, and it seems to be the kryptonite of Serral. So the conversation becomes, is the kryptonite the player, or is the kryptonite the matchup? And seems like, at least right now, game number 1, Serral demonstrating that he is not afraid of the 12 pool and knows how he wants to deal with that. But now a macro-oriented game could spell different results for both players here as we start to see a similar transition for both. Third base is going to be coming down here for Dark. Third base coming down for Serral, roughly about the same time. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised to see those drop at almost identical moments. Yeah, pretty darn close. Almost identical. So in a ZVZ where we will start to see very, very tight mirror matchups, a lot of what we are going to need to look for are going to be those attack timings and transition timings. already a big thing to note. The Baneling nest going down here for Dark at the very forward outskirts. Serral not going to have vision quite far enough forward to be able to see this, but it seems like Serral's going to be the one ramping up the attack right now. 16 lings on the production tab. Dark might get a glimpse of this at this point. It seems like Serral now going to prioritize the Baneling nest. Speed finishing up for Serral as he is going to start streaming across the map, and Dark has the vision of this position, and the third base is going to be the target at this point. So Dark going to try and respond to this in kind. He will be able to have some defensive banelings going up here. A positive position here for Dark as he is going to be the defender in this aggression right now. Following up with drones, Serral not going to overcommit to this type of push, especially since he does see banelings now as a result of this. Baneling's going to go down for Serral as well. So now Dark doing his best to see if he can respond in kind. It's a similar count. Oh, actually those banelings really close here. Serral pulling off in the final second, trying to keep that alive. Every baneling very critical here in this offense and defense. Both players have to play very cautiously here. I think one of those banelings is going to go down. He's getting on top of the ling count. Queens are in short supply here for Serral. He's lost a couple of these queens. That's actually very difficult damage to navigate at this current moment, as both players are winding themselves up. Seems like Dark wants to try and keep the pressure on here. Serral trying to transition out as well. He is getting a Roach Warren down, so he does see himself navigating into the future. Neither player getting into Lair Tech just yet. But again, all in all, it always comes down to who is going to be able to navigate the technology transition, who's going to be able to navigate the defense. A couple of these banelings finding some very good connections for Serral. Dark trying to split his banelings off to find exactly the same. A couple of these very close to each other, looking to get as much damage as they possibly can. But the control from both of these players just very on point. Unsurprisingly so. But as Serral's able to start working on his Roach production, as long as he can manage the defense and not get overwhelmed by the banelings and the lings of his opponent, these Roaches should serve to stabilize an otherwise chaotic situation here for the Finnish Zerg player. No gigantic baneling hits at this point, and Dark has actually lost far more units here. 14 lings for Serral to the 35 of Dark, but 3 queens, not an insignificant number. Lair Tech on the way here for Dark. It does seem to be all hatch tech all the time, and this is the kind of moment that can be very dangerous for the Zerg player who decides to go into Roach Tech first. Dark coming across the map with a large number of Zerglings. Is Serral going to be able to stabilize here? It does appear to be the case. Dark not going to be able to get a surround on that third base location. So now, instead of risking all of those Zerglings to the stray banelings of Serral, he's going to back off and try and re-engage. These things are going to now see this main army moving off the opposite side of the map, and that is when Dark is going to try and strike. Very good Ling Micro here, trying to pop these banelings one at a time and get as much as they possibly can here. Both players just on a razor's edge all the way along. The Roaches do actually get brought back home here for Serral, as he does want to make sure that he doesn't accidentally lose out on this base at the third base location. Is he going to be able to respond to those banelings? He does not. 4 in total. Not a terrible situation. Could have been a lot more, especially for the cost of 2 banelings. That might actually be seen as a small wash for Dark, who is now starting to invest in his own Roach count here. 19 Roaches for Serral, 13 for Dark. As both players now into Lair Tech. Serral throws down his Spire, This could be the differing tale between these two players. Dark actually going to get out to a 4th base location, and Serral will have the opportunity to spot it. So now it becomes a choice. You have the teaser of an opponent that is going to stay on large roach tech, will be getting +2. Both players going to get Glee over Constitution. Both players going to get that +2 missile upgrade. But Serral will have the advantage of Mutalisk. And in large roach battles, sometimes mutas can be enough to turn the tide. And I think one important piece of this is going to be the timing of said push here. Dark going to utilize his large gas bank to pick up some Ravagers. Ravagers will have a very strong pushing force. Has the Spire been spotted? No. Serral's Spire continues to go unscouted at this current moment. It will be allowed to finish up here, and the muta count can start to begin. There's enough for 6 mutas at this point, and 6 might be all that you need. Serral does have Overlord speed, which is being useful here as this Overseer is able to get a good look at everything that Dark has going on his side of the map. This Overseer might not be able to get away. It just skirts away, at least in the short term, maybe not the long term. 4th base for Serral now does come down as the muta count is slowly going to start growing, and it will be revealed here that Serral is going to fight with a small air army, and I think that's just going to trigger a response here. Dark, who is maxed out, but Serral is the same way. Where is this unit count at right now? 48 to 37, but 7 mutas could easily turn the tide, as the mutas immediately are going to jump on top of those vulnerable Ravagers. Not having access to Biles will be a crucial change to the overall structure of Dark's army here, as the 4th base is actually going to be left alone. Okay, that is going to get picked off there in the end. 12 drones do go down. It's not insignificant damage, but right now Serral super focused on making sure that these roaches never get back to the opposite side of the map, as more roaches are going to be produced on both sides here. Serral has discovered the right amount of units to try and keep in the air. Serral needs to make sure that he doesn't undercommit there. Dark is very well aware that Hydras in good enough numbers can be a rallying force, and that's exactly where Dark is going to go here. He does have group spines on the way, and Serral now going to come across the map to force out a bit of aggression of his own. Serral in a good spot to push forward, but Dark has what he needs to be able to defend here. 139 to 107 is the army count. Dark will have the defender's advantage, and that's exactly what Dark wants to fight with here. He's going to be supply blocked, though, at this current conjecture, as those Mutalisks will start finding Overlords to pick off, and that is where Serral is going to be able to leverage a little bit of an advantage over his opponent. Trying to keep things under wraps, though. Dark in a okay defender's position. Picking off that 4th base, very crucial for Dark. A good moment for him as he wants to push this army off, but more of those mutas continuing to find valuable Overlords on the map, making it difficult for Dark to reinforce his army here. He is going to pick up Lurkers as well. I think this is a great choice for the Korean Zerg player, as he wants to find a way to fight the large ground forces of his opponent. Serral now going to rally with some additional ground units here, picking up Banelings, centrifugal hooks allowed to finish up, and Dark losing out on some of his gas as well. So all in all, trying to keep this army at bay is Dark. Ooh, getting a really nice concave here on his opponent, but Serral also going to try and push back as well. This is such a big army here that Dark is going to have a difficult time trying to play into, and now there's just nowhere to run. Serral is incredibly poised to take this fight all the way into the main entrance of Dark's base, and Serral overwhelms his opponent even on the remax here. 26 to 14 being remaxed. Good Biles, but greater splits from Dark. Picking off a 3rd base is crucial damage. And actually the 4th base, rather. Serral finding so much damage here. The unit's lost tab is very much in his favor. And as the 4th base gets cleared up, Serral's 4th base is now allowed to finish. That means economically this is going to be a much better situation for the Finnish Zerg player, and the supply tells the story here. 143 for Dark. A maxed out army for Serral. There's been no real answer for the mutas of the Finnish Zerg player. And now Dark having to tap out. He falls 0-2 to the Finnish Phenom. Serral able to win this series 2-0.